I'm Arvin Vohra, and today I'm going to be discussing traffic law. A very good friend of mine recently got a ticket for reckless driving. At her trial, the officer testified that she was driving at the speed of traffic. She wasn't even driving in the left lane where people who like to drive fast go. She was driving in the right lane. She had an otherwise perfect driving record. But she was found guilty at trial of reckless driving. Now, I have over here the Webster's Third International Dictionary. It's a big dictionary. This is the dictionary that they use for spelling bees, and it's considered to be one of the authoritative resources on the English language. And the definition of reckless that it gives is lacking in caution or deliberately courting danger. It even has a definition for reckless driving. It says, reckless driving is driving that evinces a deliberate or culpably negligent disregard of life and property and creates an unreasonable risk of harm to others. Now, in this specific situation, the driver wasn't doing anything of the sort. She was just driving at the exact same speed in the exact same manner that everybody else was doing. So if she was reckless driving, then so was essentially everybody else on the road, and this was one of those situations where essentially everybody's getting pulled over and given a reckless driving ticket. If everyone was actually driving recklessly, there should have been, if hundreds of people are driving recklessly, there should have been hundreds of accidents going on, maybe thousands of accidents, but there was nothing of the sort happening. So how could she have possibly been found guilty of reckless driving if her behavior wasn't, according to the dictionary, reckless driving? Well, there's something called statutory reckless driving. That means according to the statute, she was driving recklessly. Not that she was actually driving recklessly. So what does the word statutory mean? Statutory means according to the written law. So according to the written law in her state, Virginia, anytime a person is driving above 80 miles per hour, whether or not the entire rest of the street's doing the same thing, anytime a person is driving above 80 miles per hour, that is automatically considered reckless driving. So then, what does that mean? Does that mean that it actually is reckless driving? I don't think so. According to law, it is reckless driving. But I believe that the law has to follow a higher authority. To use an extreme example, in the past, when slavery was legal in America, it still wasn't right, it still wasn't just, it still wasn't moral. Even though it followed the letter of the law, it didn't fire a higher law. So what is that higher law? I mean, I believe that law has to be accountable to reason. It has to be accountable to common sense. It has to be accountable to the English language. There's a saying in politics and in debate and in any argument for that matter that the best defense is a good offense. So if you are being attacked in a debate or in an argument, or if you feel there's a high likelihood that you're going to be attacked in a debate or an argument, you can attack the other side. You can attack your opponent. And the idea is that you, of course, in doing so, put him on the defensive. I think that's kind of what was happening in this situation. I believe that's exactly what's happening in this situation. Not that my friend, the driver, was doing something like this. I believe this is a situation where the state of Virginia was doing something similar. You see, while my friend was thinking about her court case, worrying about whether or not she would lose her license to drive on the streets that her taxes paid for because she was driving at the exact same speed as everybody else in a manner that posed no risk anymore, while she was worried that her normal behavior was going to lead to a massive financial inconvenience, she wasn't thinking about what the government was doing. She wasn't thinking about where her tax money was going. She wasn't thinking about some of the massively wasteful projects in Virginia that essentially were taking her tax money and spending on extremely just foolish wastes of money. She wasn't thinking about what the federal government certainly was doing with her money. You see, because she was on the defensive because of this ticket, she wasn't questioning, she wasn't challenging, she didn't have the energy or time to challenge what the government was doing with her money, with her tax money. Decent citizens who are harming no one else and whose actions pose no significant risk of harm to anyone else should never need to fear the government, and they should never need to fear the police. If anything, the government and the police should be working to protect their interests, the interests of those decent citizens. Nor should the government or police need to fear citizens, but they should treat citizens with respect and common sense. The burden here is on us the citizens. It is our job, through our votes and through our politics, to hold the law accountable to justice, to fairness, to morality, and above all, to the English language.